Hello, Aries. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aries is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Aries, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the High Priestess. I think you're being inspired right now. You know, I think that you are using your intuition. You're using this kind of, I don't know, it's a guiding force that's around you right now to set clear goals, make plans, and to go forward. I think you're trusting that, you know, everything's going to work out. You don't know exactly what the plan is. I don't have some grand revelation of the universe, but I just feel it. I feel that it's right. I feel that things are going the right way, you know. So I feel that right now you're very connected with Spirit. I feel like you're letting Spirit guide you by the hand. See, the High Priestess, it's your intuition. It's always leading you to your best life. Always has your highest good, right? I think you've tapped into that. And I think that this is, this is taking you in a direction that you've never really, I think you never imagined your life would go in this particular direction. You never realized that a lot of good things are meant for you, right? So we've got to continue to hold on to this energy, continue following the signs and symbols and synchronicities, okay? I think that with this card, with this, I feel like that there's a divine presence in your life. And I feel with that presence comes a kind of confidence in this alignment, you know? Let's put this card into a little bit of context. Let's see what's going on here. You got that Ace of Wands. See, there's that inspiration. There are those ideas. There are those plans. There are those intentions. Very inspired. And we have an Aries power card here. This is the Knight of Wands. This is fire on fire. This is a card that represents the Aries energy in action. Okay. And you've got, okay, see, no doubt about it. Yep. This is big, big blessings here for you. You got the Aries energy here in the background with the Emperor card. And you've got a Six of Swords. And you've got the Hermit. Okay. Yeah, the way forward is to put your head down and do it. You already know what to do. You already know what to do. You got a Princess of Pentacles. We've got a Prince of Pentacles. We're building. So we got fire. Now we got earth. You are a manifester. We have a Ten of Wands and a Queen of Cups. All the beauty and bliss because this is meant for you. Okay? I think the result, the final outcome here is that you're going to get everything that you want deep down in your soul. Everything that you want, everything that you need is going to manifest. That this is not just fire and earth ambition. I'm just putting in work and I'm going to build up resources, you know, whatever you're building, right? You're actually going to enjoy it. It actually is making you feel good about life. Yeah, this is major blessings here. Major, major blessings. Let's select a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set this one down over here with Alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this program you feel like you might know what that card is, put your prediction in the comments down below. Okay? Let's use that intuition that you've got a direct connection to right now, okay? I feel like you have, you've got a direct phone line to Spirit right now, and you need to trust in that, okay? Spirit's telling you, don't explain and don't complain. right? Just do it. Just do what you know is right for you. That's kind of our hermit energy. The way forward, we're not complaining, we're not explaining, we put our head down, we're doing it. We're resisting the negative energy that's around us in the world. You're fortified against. It's kind of like your cloak of invisibility. It's kind of like you're staying, you're just like, you're laying low, working on what you got to work on. You're not being all showy. You're not flaunting it. You're not being arrogant, right? We're just kind of like, we're humble. We're putting on just our work clothes and we're getting to work. And we're not trying to make a big display of things. We're not complaining. We're not explaining. There's a reference to an older female energy in your life, and I feel like that's a spirit guide for you right now. I feel like the High Priestess energy is probably some sort of guiding light from your family, from an ancestor kind of thing. I feel like it's an older female energy. Someone in your life, someone in your energy used to grow a lot of flowers. I don't know if that's mom, grandma, or somebody, but they've transitioned into spirit already. But they grew a lot of flowers. They were kind of that was their thing, right? Anyway, we have major arcana, of course. We've got, the Emperor and the Hermit, right? And the Emperor might be kind of choosing to go Hermit mode. See, the Emperor is in yesterday's energy. This is in the recent past. The recent past was a lot of big decisions that you made. I feel like very recently you took charge of something and you said, that's it. This is what I'm doing. I think I don't know, you had this burst of energy. It was, I don't know, it feels like we just took charge of something, okay? And the way for, and maybe this is like, I'm taking a risk. That's it, Maybe this was the kind of the moment where you decided to focus on that idea of yours, where you decided to kind of just do the damn thing, And maybe this was, some major decisions, because the Emperor is not always well liked, is it? The Emperor, the one who really is in control of their life, the one who's really making the decisions, the boss, right? Boss energy, is not always liked by everybody. That's why I kind of never wanted to be the boss in life. I was offered, I worked a lot of jobs, and I'd be offered like a management position. I'd say, nah, I'd always turn it down. I didn't want to be the boss. Because as the boss, you got to be okay with people not liking you. Okay? And that's kind of where we're going with this hermit mode energy. It's just like, hey, I'm the boss. This is what we're doing. And whether this is a work thing or not, it doesn't matter. But we're taking that stance in life that says, I'm the boss. This is what I'm doing. People don't have to like me. If you want to be successful in whatever your plans are right now, right? Whatever your plans are, you got to be okay with people not liking you. You have to be fortified against that. Okay? And that is a very important quality of an emperor. Okay? Now there's something from your past that you wish that you kept. I feel like there's something else back there. I don't know if it's like a notebook or a toy or a book, but something that like you got rid of a while back and you kind of wish you didn't get rid of it. I don't know what that is. Spirit's referencing something about that. Okay. There's a J-name person in your life. That's probably the older female. The ancestor energy or the spirit guide that's in your life now is the J-name person that grew the flowers. Okay. And they're with you now, and I think that you feel an inspiration. You feel as if you're connected to something bigger than you. I mean, you are in this kind of warrior energy. Yeah. And, and I mean warrior like in a Castaneda, Carlos Castaneda, Don Juan kind of energy, a warrior, right? One who is living their path and is able to control their selves, their actions, right? Is living with full awareness, is living an inspired life, living the path with heart. Okay? And living the path with heart doesn't mean that you're going to be always having a good time. It's not living the fun path always, So anyway, you've got your two major arcana. You've got fire and fire and fire. You got a little bit of water, a little bit of air. Whoops, I should probably show you on the camera, right? We got fire, we've got water, we've got air, And of course, we have our earth energies. So I really like that we have this fire and earth combination, right? This is all fire and earth, that you are taking your inspiration and you're manifesting it. This is the spiritual electrical circuit of creation. Okay? This is the, impulse to action, the will to action, inspiration to implementation, heaven to earth, fire to earth, that creative circuit. Okay? And what you need in order to conduct this fire into earth and succeed in your manifestations, you need the water and the air to act as conductors. What are water and air? Well, thoughts and feelings. Our human mind, basically, right? Our personality. How we think and feel about what we're doing is going to determine whether or not your fire ever makes it to earth. Well, you've got a divine plan, and you've got a really deep connection with your emotions. Okay, you're a very strong and fortified person, but you're also very sensitive. I feel like the Emperor energy here is a kind of awakening. That there was a time where you started to question your daily routines. You decided not to live just mechanically anymore, like an automaton. You said, "No, I'm waking up." So I feel that this was a spiritual awakening for you, and you were able to accept yourself as a warrior, and the warrior is going to do the difficult thing. I'm choosing my path. I'm choosing to do the thing that I know I was meant here to do. I'm choosing to follow my bliss, to follow my passion, to follow my destiny. I'm choosing to do that, okay? Something bloomed in your psychic life. And you said, I've got to be that warrior that takes a risk on their own spirit, on their own soul. I've got to be that warrior that can deal with challenges, that can do the difficult thing, take the more difficult path. So maybe over here you had the option to just do the easy thing. And you said, no, I'm not going to do the easy thing. I'm going to do the right thing. Okay? And I feel like your spirit is really shining through your persona right now. I think that you represent the perfect emperor. You are very much in this ideal Aries energy right now, and it's just glorious. Because the ideal Aries energy is going to have a 6 of Swords, for one thing. One, it's going to be inspired. A good emperor needs to have a connection with spirit, needs to be inspired, needs to be humble, needs to be energetic and strong. Okay? Also needs to have a 6 of Swords. Needs to have a plan, for one thing. You got to have things that you want to do, and you got to be able to explain how we're going to get from point A to point B, right? But we also need to be able to cooperate, form alliances, negotiate, talk to people, make connections, interface with others. You know, nothing worse than a boss who just refuses to talk or listen or have a conversation, is just like a dictator. You know, the emperor could be that, but not you. No, you're in this ideal Aries energy right now. And I feel like that's what we're looking at here. I feel like this entire set of cards is merely, there should be an equal sign. Emperor equals all of this. This is everything it takes to be a good emperor. And the 6 of Swords is your ability to communicate with people, to establish rapport, to work together in harmony with others, to share ideas, to not feel like you've got all the answers and everybody else can just go suck an egg. You have this ability to bring people together right now. And I feel like that's in some way part of what you're doing is meant to bring people together. You're building something that is beyond you. You know, you're the pharaoh who is building the pyramids, right? And it's a collective effort. It's a group effort in a way. And I think if there's one thing that we need to sort of work on, it might be the 10 of Wands, because the 10 of Wands is in the position of what you don't want. And, one, we don't want to burn out. Nothing worse than an emperor who just gets too tired and just has to sleep all day and is no longer around, right? No longer has the energy to show up and do the work. I mean, that kind of is the extreme case, but I feel that this card's also saying that we need to know when to rest. You know, We need to know when to slow down and when to take care of ourselves so that we can continue to show up every day. We don't want to burn out. Okay? We also need to know when to ask for help. We need to know when to accept other people's offer. Sometimes this card is that, no, I'm the one that gives. I'm the one that helps others. I'm the one that's generous with my energy. And so we end up with a rejection of other people who are offering us anything. No, 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 I'm the one who gives. I don't take from you, I give to you. So we have to be open to other people offering things to us, whether it's compliments, whether it's help, whether it is any kind of assistance or even just moral support. I think it's important that we can do that. And I think you are doing that. And I think it's important that we have that Six of Swords up there at the top. Because without that, it kind of seems like we're just a little bit too, I don't know, isolated even. Especially with the Hermit, because sometimes the Hermit doesn't want to work with other people. That's part of the problem here. So there's a little bit of that, I think, struggle in you, where we are, we know that we have to work with other people. We know that we need to network and we need to be able to have conversations. We need to be good listeners and we need to organize and we need to have the plan and all this stuff. But at the same time, you're trying to protect yourself from anybody who is trying to interfere with your plans. You're trying to just kind of put your head down and do your work. And you don't mind doing it alone if you need to. But you're open to other people, right? I think you're choosing your words very carefully because your words are your magical incantations. And so we're being very, very careful with how we speak to other people. And you're being very open-minded. I feel like you're listening even more than you're talking right now. Yeah, you're the ideal emperor. You know. Down beneath the surface, we have this other Aries energy, the Knight of Wands, and this is an impulsive fire-on-fire energy. This is a horse that is just boom, shot out of a cannon, just starting to gallop. And if the rider isn't expecting it or isn't holding on, going to fall from the horse. Can you imagine you're sitting on a horse, suddenly it just takes off running? Right? I mean, I think most people just kind of fall off or be like, what the heck is going on here? But I feel like you have an ability, like you're ready for that. You know, you have an ability to hold on and to be one with that horse. So you're following your impulses right now. And I think it's perfect because your impulses are guided by spirit. There's a trust there. And if anything, the High Priestess is asking you to trust in this fire energy, this creative energy. Okay. Asking you to trust in where spirit is leading you. Asking you to trust in your own vision. See, this Ace of Wands, this is your vision. Like it's literally the Ace of Wands is associated with our eyesight, right? This is the card of vision, and it says trust your vision. Trust whatever it is that you see. I don't know what it is. This is an ace. This isn't, it's not, there's no details here necessarily. And speaking of that, we don't have any pip cards of the suit of pentacles either. We have the court. In fact, we've got quite a bit of court cards here. Okay? So I feel that there is this group, and maybe you're about to be accepted into a group, or maybe you're about to be part of some elite club, so to speak, right? You're about to achieve something that kind of puts you in a league with others that have succeeded in that way. I don't know exactly what you're doing. I feel like your words are your bond right now. Like I said, you're very careful with the words you choose because you only speak what you intend to honor, right? You stood up to a bully. I don't know when. I don't know if it was when you were a kid. Maybe it's a bully at work, or maybe it's like I don't know, something. Spirit's telling me that there was a long time bully, something that it went on for an extended period of time. You finally stood up, or you finally said no, or I don't know if there was too much pressure at work, or if there was something that was really unfair. And I kind of going back to this Emperor energy because I feel like this was like a moment where we stood up. And I feel like we just said enough, and maybe we stood up to the bully at work. Maybe this was a long time ago. Maybe this is like unfair demands on you at work, and we kind of, I feel like this is a newfound self-respect almost. This is an empowerment, right? Spirit is going to be sending a very important gift your way, and I'd be ready for that. I would be on the lookout for that surprise gift, okay? I feel like you're starting to get in touch with your emotions more. I feel like that's why we've got that card at the end, because I feel for a long time you didn't really express your emotions. And that's kind of going back to the Emperor and maybe to the bully energy, where we didn't always allow our feelings to have any kind of say. Like we suppressed our needs or our emotions in order to maintain harmony. But now we're sort of getting in touch with that. I think that's part of our enlightenment and part of our spiritual awakening, part of our self-respect now is that, no, I can have feelings. It's an Emperor, we think, it's just all fire energy. It's just the big boss. It's not sensitive. It can't show any weakness and blah, 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 blah. I think you're realizing that an emperor, a good emperor, has to have very deep emotions, has to feel something, has to be sensitive, has to know deep down what it cares about, has to have compassion and empathy. You imagine an emperor with empathy, right? Who would be the best emperor the world's ever known. And so I feel like that's part of what you're doing now, is getting in touch with your deepest emotions. The Queen of Cups is a card of emotional transparency, emotional honesty, radical self-acceptance, accepting that watery kind of fluid and flowing side of ourselves, that sensitive side of ourselves, okay? Who has the fear of flying in your life? Somebody really doesn't like to get on an airplane or is afraid of heights or something like that, right? Because I'm feeling like we're looking down from the clouds and we're getting like the vertigo kind of feeling, you know? So I don't know if that's you or that's somebody else in your life. The hermit energy too in the future. Spirit is reminding you to take care of your body. Treat it with respect. Treat yourself with respect, not only energetically, spiritually, but physically too. Sometimes we look at the body as just being this annoying thing that we have to deal with. Like, when are we finally going to transcend the need for a physical body, right? Well, that day probably isn't today, so let's take care of it. Okay? It's serving us well. It is the medium through which we're able to interact with other physical objects and things of this density, right? So-called physical objects, things that are vibrating at this dense, this slow vibrational rate in the realm of the earth, okay? So we got to take care of that so we can continue to interact with other things that vibrate at that rate, okay? Physical objects, basically, right? So treat our bodies with respect with this card too. Okay. Let's see, what else did we miss on this? I think we pretty much touched on all of this stuff. I think this is a really, really important time for you right now. This is a big blessing. I think you're going to be so rewarded by what you're doing here. The Princess of Pentacles here on the path of the Serpent. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Your general energy is the Princess of Pentacles. This reminds me of like a small garden in the backyard. And I kind of feel like when you were a kid, and maybe this goes back to the flowers and stuff. Maybe it's more than flowers. Maybe it's just a whole backyard paradise. I feel like you were a kid, and the tomatoes first started to get ripe, right? And you remember picking those tomatoes and eating them right off the vine, and how good that felt. And then there's almost just this excitement because there's this promise of like more harvest to come. You know, it's kind of like you just get to sample one tomato, but you realize that you're going to have a bunch of tomatoes, right? So I feel like this card is really telling you that, hey, you know what, you're getting a little sample of how great this path is and what you're accomplishing, what you're achieving, what you are manifesting. But this is just the beginning. There's so much more that's ready to be born. Nothing's even growing here yet. We see a little hint of the green at the bottom. Eventually, this is going to become the Empress card. Okay, so this is nothing. This is just one little tomato off the vine. You're going to have a whole backyard full of life and, vegetables and fruit and I don't know, whatever you're planting, okay? And maybe this isn't literally a garden for you. This is whatever you're doing in your life. Whatever your work is. And when I say work, I don't just mean what we do for money. That's your job. I mean your vocation, your calling, whatever you're burning calories doing. Okay, whatever you're burning calories doing. There's a reverence for the night sky. I feel like you are, you're a stargazer. I feel like you take intentional time out of your life to look up at night. Maybe you wake up in the wee hours of the morning before anybody else is up, and you go outside and you look at the stars. You know, I don't know, they say it's the darkest, around 2 or 3 in the morning or something. I feel like you go outside and you look at the stars. And I feel like that's a very important time. Maybe that's your meditation. You know, maybe that's the only kind of meditation really that we do. Okay. The Prince of Pentacles is the builder. I think you have the ability to work well with others right now. Even though we've got this hermit energy that we're kind of dealing with, like you don't trust people unnecessarily, but you also don't assume everybody's out to get you. I feel like there's a pretty good balance. Okay. This is you out in the world being very productive. This is you having a vision of the world, and you're building the world. Not only are you building the world, but you're building relationships too. And I think that might even be the more important thing here, because we have a lot of court cards. I think that this is us realizing through this reading, realizing that the Emperor is not just building monuments and building cities and building an empire, but it's building relationships. That's what the Emperor does. Builds relationships, right? And now I'm kind of thinking of all these like political TV shows or whatever that, are on. And how it's really the only thing that matters is our relationships with other people. So I feel like you have a focus on building those quality relationships. Even though we've got this hermit energy, I think the hermit energy really is about you following your own light and not being unnecessarily influenced by other people. Okay? Not letting other people kind of show you where you should be going or what you should be doing. You're honoring the light within you, which is the Ace of Wands. Okay, but at the same time, the hermit is out there in the world being very active and very involved. Right? We see the hermit, we think of somebody who's just alone, isolated, sequestered in a little cave on the top of the mountain or something, right? But no, you can be the hermit in a crowded room because you're protected. You have cloaked your inspiration. You are protecting your inner light. While you're out here interacting with you probably have a very busy life. You're probably interacting with people all day long. But you're still that hermit energy because you're staying true to the light within you. Okay? You're staying true to the light within you. Now we talked about the 10 of Wands as well. And that is this, kind of an exhaustion of energy. I don't know if you have a shoulder issue now, but there's some kind of a thing with the shoulder. I don't know, maybe somebody close to you has that problem. Sometimes when I'm trying to hone in on your energy, I get these intuitive hits or nudges or like sometimes just literally words coming to me from spirit, right, from my angel. And it may be just somebody who's kind of in your vicinity right now, that there's something going on with the shoulder. I think it's the left one. Well, it may be the right one if I'm seeing it right. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The 10 of Wands is a reminder that we, as this Emperor energy, we need longevity. We need consistency. We need to be able to continue going on the path no matter what. So we need to find ways that what's going to sustain me on the path. If I just keep my pedal to the metal in the car, eventually I'm going to run out of gas. It's going to sputter. The engine's going to turn off, and I'm going to be stranded. That's not what I want to do. So I have to maybe be a little easier on the gas pedal. I have to try to time things out to say, okay, in another couple 100 miles, I'm going to have to find a gas station. I'm going to have to take the time to fill up, maybe use the bathroom, get some water, something. and get some veggie straws, and then get back in the car. And I think that's what this is kind of telling us right now. We have to do whatever is needed in order to stay loyal to the path that we're on. Because again, you have this divine plan above you. Okay. Sometimes we have to swallow our pride and do things that maybe a little bit we may be hesitating. Right? Sometimes when you're in this emperor energy and we're making progress, we're moving forward, we don't want to have to say, I need to take a rest, or I need some time to myself, or I've got to slow down, I got to catch my breath, whatever it is. Okay? I feel like this is kind of someone who is refusing to ask for directions too. Right? And it's kind of like we can be lost, we can go drive around in circles and circles and circles because we're refusing to swallow our pride and ask for directions. We're wearing ourselves out because we refuse to ask for help. We refuse to stop or slow down or refill the tank or or take care of ourselves. And again, it kind of goes into that, honoring our physical body too. It's kind of the same vibe here. Okay, so we have to realize that even though we don't want to, our devotion to this path requires us to sometimes accept the help that's being offered to us. Because this isn't about ego. This is about a bigger, larger vision that you have. Okay. Now, the final card is the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups, I think, is really it's this increase of emotional awareness and emotional intelligence. Okay, and I think the intuition and the emotions are very deeply tied together. Now, there was a time recently where you were thinking about somebody right before they called you. And I think that's been happening more and more and more. Because when we're aware of what's going on inside of us and we feel things and we allow ourselves to know what we feel, our feelings are usually pretty oracular, kind of prophetic in a way. Okay? I think that maybe even you've been having more dreams. Like you'll dream about somebody, the next day you'll hear about them or they'll call you or something like that, right? Something like there's a lot of synchronicities in that. And I think this is really opening up our own sensitivity, realizing who we are, what we want, what we don't want, getting in touch with the deeper parts of ourselves that may have, fears and may have apprehensions about things, that may have a lot of stuff down in the depths of us that we need to sort of deal with. Okay? And so we're becoming more and more sensitive to ourselves and to our feelings. And when we do this, it is very important that we protect ourselves from the energy from outside. When we open up our emotions, when we lift the veil, right? When we're practicing this emotional work, it puts us in a very sensitive state, to where negative energy from other people really has an opportunity to get inside of us, right? So we have to make sure that we're fortifying ourselves against that. Okay, it's the way an empath, right? Because of because of the nature of that energy, they're more susceptible to taking on a lot of the negative emotional energy. Okay, so I feel like you're aware of that. I feel like this card is also asking you, what emotions do you want to feel more often? Right? The emperor, we think of an emperor as someone who doesn't have any emotions at all, right? It's just kind of stoic and powerful and strong. And this is talking about that sensitive side of the emperor. What emotions do you want to feel? It's okay for you to smile, It's okay for you to want things and to feel good and to like feeling good. It's okay for you to accept whatever emotions are in you. This is radical self-acceptance. Okay. I feel like this is the work this is how you're going to be moving forward. This is something that is going to really assist you. And I feel like this is really the blessing too. I feel like you are allowing yourself to feel good about what you're manifesting here. Like we have this vision and we're doing all of this hard work and we've got all this stuff going on. And at the end of the day, you're allowing yourself to be proud, to feel good, and to love this path and to be happy about it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with feeling the joy of what you're creating. I like this. Let's look at the mystery card. I want more water energy, right? I want a 9. Actually, what I want is the Empress. Because the High Priestess is showing us the way to the Empress. The Princess of Pentacles is trying to become the Empress. Will at some point become the Empress. Okay, so that's what this card could be. But if you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. The 8 of Swords. The 8 of Swords. Overthinking. Perhaps Spirit is reminding us that to overthink any of this, to overthinking in general, to feel powerless, to feel helpless and hopeless, to sabotage ourselves. That might be something we're learning about ourselves with that Queen of Cups. That is going to cover up our intuition. Okay? This is going to render your Emperor powerless. We're overthinking, doubting ourselves, questioning what we're doing, right? Hesitating, not valuing our vision, not valuing our, kind of saying like, I don't trust the intuition. Because then we're putting the cage around that intuition and we're not allowing it to happen. We're saying, no, I don't believe it, I don't trust it. I don't trust myself. I don't have the confidence. Sometimes this is a card of an insecurity. Okay? Well, we've got this Emperor energy. There's no place in this reading for overthinking or insecurity. However, there is kind of a positive side of this card. And it's about paying attention to details. It's about caring about the little things, the little details. Maybe it's saying that we've been pretty focused on the big picture. Maybe it's saying like, look, we have to focus on the little things that make all the difference. The little finishing touches, the little subtleties that really make things special. Maybe it's saying that we, rather than being too tied up with the bigger picture, sample the little tomato and just taste it, just to know that it's there and to feel that joy. And then feel the joy of knowing that that's just one tomato. You're going to have a whole garden full of abundance, But I think primarily this is kind of a caution. Yeah. Not to obsess over the little details. Not to overthink the intuition or the vision. Because this is the intellect, this is the mind that now is not allowing you to conduct your fire to earth. This is blocking your fire to earth. It's saying, no, that fire is not going to reach earth. Okay? This is the inside of the Emperor card, and this is what's going to, this is the kryptonite for the Emperor card. Doubting. You think an Emperor, right, who can't make a decision. An Emperor who's just like, I don't know what to do. I'm not confident in any of my decisions. You think of an insecure Emperor, right? It's the antithesis of an Emperor. And so I think this is a perfect card to illustrate how this is the Emperor, this is the this is the Emperor's kryptonite. And this is what we got to watch out for. Okay. Now we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do some oracle cards. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Aries on Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you want to watch the extendeds at the website, go to doveandserpenttarot.com or go to my Patreon. Also, subscribe to my wife's channel. She does tea leaf readings over at Ula Tea Leaf Readings. If you haven't subbed this channel, please do. The readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know how you're doing. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.